Thank you for having me here today, and congratulations on Bob and Aidan on their efforts. And we've got the testing ground of everything coming up soon, so we wish you all the best, all the candidates. I'm speaking to you today as the President of the Australian Fishing Trade Association. We represent the majority of retailers, wholesalers, importers, manufacturers of fishing tackle and media and associated industries like that. And we would like to thank the Qatar Australia Party for being the first political party to support our 4 major policy dot points for the election in Queensland coming up. Our first dot point we asked to work with your party on was to declare net-free areas for recreational-only fishing around all large cities on the coast and smaller ones if they want to be part of that system. 2, to have tailor and Australian salmon, all dart and trevally species to be declared as recreational-only fish. 3 was to develop freshwater fisheries to a higher standard to grow regional tourism. And number 4 was to allow recreational fishing with 1 hook and 1 line in some green zones as long as there was no threat to biodiversity. Now, I have had a conversation with a couple of you guys. While our dot points are about advancing the benefits of recreational fishing, it's not about the decimation of commercial fishing. Locally caught seafood in our shops is now down to less than 30%, and we all believe that people should have the right to be able to select locally caught fresh seafood, and we will work with all stakeholders in our fisheries to see that we get a fair outcome for everyone. This will not be easy, but I honestly believe if you get the right people from all the industries involved, you can get an outcome. Our biggest threat to all our fisheries is ill-conceived policies that set up massive marine parks all around Australia with no fishing access for anyone. The real answer is healthy, clean waters, well-managed fisheries in state and federal waters. We are not against marine parks, but we are against marine park closures that are not backed by scientific material. Multi-use marine parks with well-developed management plans which encompass the direction and input from all stakeholders will ensure that we end up with healthy fisheries for the generations to come. A recent article by one of our scientists here, Ben Diggles, showed that if we keep going down the track we are at the moment with massive closures, and most of this is to appease the Greens and get their votes, and other countries around the world are holding back on some of these things, Australia could have the claim that we have 70% of the world's marine parks in the next couple of years, which is a bit frightening. We are also aware that many of the illegal fishing activities reported to federal observers come from recreational fishermen out in some of these offshore waters. So we just believe there is a role for recreational fishermen to play that does look after our waterways and fish stocks. I'll just give you a quick overview of our recreational fishing frustrations over the years. First one, we'd say we're sick of being treated like second-class citizens in state level and federally. We want guarantees of access to fisheries. The act of going fishing, a lot of people don't realise, adds to something like $1 billion to the Queensland economy. Unfortunately, it's not selling fishing tackle that does that much, but it's when somebody goes fishing. They buy their fishing tackle, their bait, then they've got a boat, then they're going to get a 4-wheel drive to tow the boat with, then they go somewhere, so they're buying food, grog, petrol, then you have to insure your boat, you have to insure your car. All these things add up, and this is where you get something like $1 billion plus to the Queensland economy, and nationally no one argues with the figure of about 10 billion. So it's a big industry, but because it covers everyone from factory workers, solicitors, judges, doctors, lawyers, everyone. So it's very hard to put a finger on. You can't just say, oh, that group of people, because all sorts of people do fishing. So it's a terrific sport and done by lots of people, but it's very hard to put a finger on the figures. We're regularly asked to have input to regular impact statements and fishery matters. Rarely are we listened to. They take all the information in and then just do what fisheries was going to do anyway. Many of the great ideas put out by the Boons report, which was over 20 years old now, all recreational fishing groups had a great input into that, and I think it sits on a shelf somewhere in a government department in Queensland. They've done a couple of items off it but just ignored it. Anglers want to have real input to the research projects. We don't want scientists picking what they want to do and then the government departments pick a project as well that they want. And a lot of this is shown up north where people do research on reefs and all those things, and it's all done with a preconceived idea to prove that, oh, that's what we need. We need to have another marine park there because we believe there's a threat. And that's not right. We need to have proper research that's free and open to everyone. Recreational anglers, as I mentioned before, are not against marine parks. We just don't want to see wholesale closure. Recreational anglers and boaters just want well-managed fisheries, clean, healthy waterways, make sure that we don't have pollution and overfishing, because the fishery is there for everyone and for our children and our grandchildren. Fisheries management principles need to be based on a threat-based analysis. And what we mean by this is if that style of fishing can cause an issue with the biodiversity in that area, it shouldn't be done. Now, there's some areas where bottom netting can't be done, or there's some areas where recreational guys want to anchor up and fish, and if there's a very delicate little reef on the bottom, well, sorry, you can't do it. So you have no anchoring. You can drift fish, but you can't anchor up. So again, it's just a bit of common sense and working out the rules to get the best outcome for everyone. If there is a problem with a fishery in an area, a lot can be often learnt by talking to the oldest commercial fisher or recreational fisher in that area. But instead, in most cases, we go and appoint a scientist and spend probably $500,000 to $1 million to find out something that you could have walked down the road and asked a guy that's lived there all his life, fished those waters, can usually tell you what caused the problem. Teaching children has led to lots of reductions in crime and vandalism in areas. And we'd like to see that promoted more through television and school programs for kids to be encouraged to fish. Also, it works at the other end in retirement villages where there's people that used to go fishing and end up in a retirement home and all of a sudden they can't go fishing anymore. But there are programs there that I know some of the homes do, that they take the guys out fishing in a bus, or ladies if they want to still fish, and it makes a tremendous difference in their life standard that they've gone to go fishing, even if it was only one day a month or something, but they've got something to talk about and lie about how big the fish was. Until next time. But we honestly believe teaching children fishing, those of you that have done it, to do fishing properly, there's a lot of skills to be learnt, and probably patience is the biggest one. And for kids to be able to, instead of running around bored, not knowing what to do and creating havoc in the local community, if they can go fishing and be shown how to do it properly, catch a fish, they could even make a difference to the family food bill if they can bring home fresh fish for the family. But it does stop local problems in the area if kids go out fishing, and it has been proven in a number of places around the world. Anglers are happy to work with sensible conservation groups because, as I said before, we do have to have clean water for the fish to be in. So we do need to work with conservation groups, but sensible ones that want to have a balanced outcome for everyone, and locking up waters forever is not the answer. We also want to see pollution as a big issue, so we want to see industrial enterprises and landholders held accountable for irresponsible pollution. And again, it's just a case of looking at how to manage things, do it better. If we need wider riparian areas and things like this, we should all be looking at it, because we'll all benefit by having cleaner waterways and better fisheries. Because you can talk to a lot of farmers, they all go fishing too, so most of them are quite happy to work with you. And that's about it. But as I said, recreational fishing is a big industry, but it's a very loosely aligned industry, so it does fall under the radar a lot of times. But we're very happy that the Katter Party has seen fit to give this a bit of a boost, and we're looking forward to working with you guys to see where we can take it in future. Thank you.